Okay, so week 8 is all about, I'm going to bring us into a focus on surrender and acceptance. And I'm going to do it in a way that you haven't heard it before, and I'm going to leave us with a practice to embrace fully to take us to the next level. But I really quick want to touch base on last week. And last week, week 7, was all about self-regulation. When we self-regulate, we learn to embrace skills that allow us to quickly come back to the center, to this point of our power, this center place and space within us where we rebalance quickly and find our harmony and take our stance. And if you're walking, living, and existing in the world, which you're breathing, so you're going to be knocked off your center all the time. We all are. We all are. We share a collective consciousness, and we have thoughts that are arising from within our own subconscious that are triggering us into memories of past emotions, past traumas, past stories, past programming. And as you're releasing these and repatterning them, there are some areas you haven't released. Okay? And I'm just going to ask you to reflect. Reflect upon week 1, the inner power, and how often you anchor in and come from that point of power. And just reflect on that. Do you think you've mastered that? Do you still have work to do? Week 2 was all about love. Do you fully love yourself? Have you mastered self-love? Because to give it to others and share it in the world and see it showing up in our life, in our relationships, our career, and every aspect of who we are, first requires us to own it 100% inside. Week 3 was feedback. And I said everything is feedback. Everything is just giving us information. It's feeding back to us what we most need to know. If we feel a little discomfort or discontent, that's feedback to shift. That shifting was our self-regulation, was really embracing the power of that self-regulation and putting it into action. Week 4 was about deserving, owning that sense of deserving and all that we are, that you deserve happiness. That's your core nature. When you tap into your inner power, happiness, joy, and peace are all there. They're all present. That sense of deserving is yours 100% of the time. Have you mastered that? Just reflect. Week 5 was intention. That without setting an intention, you're at the mercy of what the universe is throwing at you, and you're easily knocked off your stance, your home center, your place of power. And that attention, intention, alignment, and guidance all come by having a firm desired intention. And are you setting intentions? Have you set one for this call? Do you have one for your day? Do you have action steps in place? This is mastery. You're stepping into mastery in so many different areas. I know this is a lot, but they all tie together. And my goal is to today put this beautiful bow on it for you. Week 6 was about understanding the difference between quantum and lineal. In the lineal world, we are in these finite aspects of ourselves. In the quantumness, we're in our infinite potential. When we step into judgment, we're really permeating that finite aspect of ourselves. And we're actually stepping into creating pain by the judgment itself. We've now judged the quantumness of this universe and this massive power and presence that lives and moves in us and around us. And we've put a judgment on it. Whether we find it acceptable or unacceptable, whether we wish it were different, whether we're going to continually sit in the resistance or shift, listen and learn from the feedback, and shift into acceptance. So today is going to be all about acceptance. But last week was self-regulation. And that was a really powerful week. I left you with some 8 different ways that you could really work on and improve self-regulation. And I asked you to tune into your core values, because knowing those core values helps you quickly and easily self-regulate back to them. They are at the root of who you are. And I gave you 5 spaces to list at least 5 core values. You may have more than that. But real quick, before we move forward, I want to get clear on some of those core values. So, Lonnie, what did you put down for your core values?
I thought about it, but I got stuck at around 4.
Okay, well, 4 is better than none. So what are your core values? Yeah.
Integrity,
Mm-hmm.
Politeness, respect, empathy, and improvement.
Okay. Now let me ask you, because that's amazing. The first place we see us out of alignment with our core values is in how we are to ourselves. Did you notice in writing down those core values more quickly when you were out of alignment with them?
Like compared to, with how the week was going, or as a general statement?
Okay, so let me rephrase it, because I don't know how to answer what you asked. Yeah, so I'm not really looking for anything beyond the week, because this was all about applying self-regulation in this week. And the core values were to give you a point to come back to regulate back into, knowing your core values and what they mean to you, and how you stand for them in your life, that every time you could feel any discord, you could quickly and easily self-regulate back into a core value. Did you notice within yourself any shifts?
So adding with the, I think it was that 8 cheat sheet that you gave. So combining the 2 of them,
yes.
There were definitely multiple times that I had a knee-jerk response ready to come out, but I pinched my lips, just paused, and just gave a nicer, for me and nicer for the universe, response.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful.
I was in New York most of the week.
Yeah.
And so that always throws me off a bit. I don't like travel that much. The hotel bed, ironically, I was in the same room that I had been in 6 months ago, and the bed is like a, it's like a, I can't, there, we'll do it that way.
Yeah, I got
it. So they threw 6 months ago a bucket underneath the bed to give it a little support. So my back was hurting. I had conversations with ownership of the company about my future there. And then just get home, I'm tired with 3-hour delay. I'm behind on work because of the travel and so on. The kids are super excited to see me, which just means it's all kinds of anything to get attention. And so I'm still trying to come back, but multiple times I felt my triggers got pushed, but a lot of times I was able to make correction and just give a nicer response, because I kept thinking about the values and the 8 traits, what I'll call it, or whatever.
Yeah, they're just 8 different ways that we can really work on self-regulation. I try to give steps and ways to begin practicing and implementing the topic, and that's all it is they're just ideas to bring into your awareness. And was there 1 or 2 in particular that week that you focused in on more than the rest?
I think I didn't print it, but I think modeling, was almost like number 1.
The integrity part. Yes.
And so, just remembering I'm a parent, my reaction is going to be teaching these future parents and future adults behavior. So I really need to be conscious of my reaction and choices and make them good to model better behavior.
Yeah. Sometimes no reaction and no response is actually better than correction. And I hope today's lesson really brings that forth.
Sorry, I meant it as like they ask a question,
Oh,
don't listen to the answer,
yeah.
ask it, and it's like
You got to answer those. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. And you've got to love the curiosity of children, you know, and their innocence in all of it, because they're like sponges. And you're like a sponge right now as well with all this material, right? There's a lot going on. And while you're taking it all in, integration is baby steps. So give yourself a high five here. Just tuning inward and noticing your own self-correction. That's what self-regulation is. You're going to notice that improving more and more and more. Stepping into the modeling of it, just putting it on like you do your shirt in the morning. You know, knowing that's your intention for the day, moving into it, makes it easier for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
April, what did you come up with on your core values?
Maybe mine are a little bit silly, but my core values are spreading love, showing empathy, being gentle, and not showing judgment to others.
Okay,
Those
so
my
core values are never nots. So let's take that last one off. What would be the opposite of judgment? You know, it could be something like compassion.
Oh, compassion, yeah.
It could, you know, I mean, for each one of us, it's individual. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just that in core values, it's never a negative. In fact, we're removing all the negative. The word not, the word don't, the word can't or shouldn't, or but they're just gone from our vocabulary. And we'll pick the positive action we wish to embrace. So that's the part we got to get really, really clear on, is what is that for you?
Okay. I think compassionate is more appropriate.
Yeah, and it feels good. It feels really good. It'll feel even better today. So of the 8 ways to improve self-regulation, was there one or two in particular that resonated with you most?
The one that just continued to work for me again and again and again is just to stay calm, be calm. Like, even though I was not physically that fantastic last week, like my mood was, I was just calm the entire week. Like nothing upset me, nothing made me mad. Like I was just okay, like I need to take care of my body right now. Would it be nice, you know, to maintain like a calm mood? Don't get overwhelmed. You need to save your energy for yourself. You know, so
absolutely.
that's kind of what I
That calm will be your power. You know, when you drop inward to your inner power, it is nothing but calm. And that brings me to one of my favorite quotes, Viktor Frankl. And he says, between the stimulus and your response, there lies a space. And when you enter into that space, I mean, it's nothing but calm. You don't feel a need to rush into a response or a reaction. You settle into the openness, the infinite possibility and potential. And that is really calm. It really is. So that was a beautiful response. Well, today's lesson is about surrender. And when I say surrender, it's not loss of control. It's actually aiding to your support. So you'll find on my website my most recent blog post that talks all about surrender. And I'm really clear that surrender is not loss of control, but added support and guidance. If you're one who likes to have the feeling of control, surrender and flow can be very difficult concepts to embrace. And this is only because you perceive surrender as being out of control. But in this sharing of it, I really wish to clarify the power of surrender and the aid your understanding of its really true definition. The act of surrender is a choice. It's your choice. It's not just a choice, it's an empowered choice. You're in charge, and for every moment you stay in surrender and flow, you are literally choosing to use a system of support that can help you far more than trying to micromanage your life from the limited vantage point of the finite individual self. Surrender is literally the highest form of control, and yet letting go of control all at the same time. Choosing to surrender is activating your team of helpers, whether you call them guardian angels, whether you call them ascended masters, whether you call them spirit. It's you acting in your highest form and fashion as the master of this life expression. Calling on all the support that's available to you is asking for the help you need. Surrender is consulting with the experts of your life expression. It's much like being your own CEO and calling in your talented people on your team to lend their expertise. Every great leader, every CEO has a team, a tribe, an entourage of support around them. Surrender is the act of activating your team and aligning with them. You actually add to the power when you call in this team of support. You get to continue to steer your flow through gratitude and appreciation. So you're still in charge, you're still in control, and your very sense of appreciation and gratitude is steering the boat, per se. Surrender and flow are actually co-creative processes with you as the master. This is how you can use your free will to choose a much more efficient operating system that is not only supported energetically, but designed to keep you, to take you to the highest outcomes and your true peak potential at all times. Feeling a sense of flow is like drifting downstream with a gentle current doing all the work and hardly needing to use your paddles at all, except to maneuver around the turns and the bends. Flow is the alignment of natural organic energy that's already in motion around you when you choose to surrender. So when we change our idea of what control is and we understand the true power comes from really making decisions that come from your heart and inner wisdom, it's being in that loving, benevolent leadership role, the master of your own life expression, by using the divine combination of surrender, flow, and faith. You can't micromanage and create at the same time, for the simple reason that control, when we control things and micromanage, we're actually putting forth effort of constraint, whether it's upon ourselves or others. And creation is actually expansion. So how do you have a feeling of some semblance of control while embracing creation? By understanding that gratitude is the steering wheel of this flow and your most powerful feedback tool for the universe. Your focus, your attention is your blessing of continuation. So that, coupled with surrendering into your highest intentions, is how you actually move into this empowered co-creative state. The system that actually leads you where you want to go and beyond. It's already making straight your path. The energy's already in motion. You just have to align with it, and part of that is surrender. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Our bodies, your body, is a supercomputer. The operating system running the show is our self-talk. Self-talk consists of your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs. The more conscious you are, you realize the power that brought you here and breathes life into you will also guide your way. As we step into mastery and become that leader that we're meant to be, we begin to call upon this entourage of support that literally takes us to a whole new level of being in control. Surrender and flow is the operating system of choice for a conscious, empowered human being. So that blog is on the website if you want to reread it and recenter with what surrender really means, but it truly is letting go of control and yet gaining more control all at the same time.
Just like the Serenity Prayer.
Well, we're going to talk about that too. And I got another link to something really powerful there too. Beautiful. interlude. And this is truly how this power starts working. I mean, everything you're thinking about is exactly where we're headed, where we're going. You're already in the flow. You can feel it. You can feel it with your thought structure. You can feel it with your energy. You can feel it with your resonating with what surrender means, right? You felt it in the words. So I'm also going to give you in the website work today 16 different ways to begin accepting things in your life. And they're really powerful. You've already been learning them. You've already been letting go of judgment. You've already been paying attention to what you're paying attention to and noticing any discord or dis-ease with what you feel or think, right? And this lesson is going to take you a deeper dive, but it's going to require more work on your part. I'm not going to go into all 16 on the call because we only have an hour with you. And I want to focus on two things. And I'm going to do the serenity prayer first because the second one I think is really super powerful and may take a bit of explaining and understanding because it may not be something you've heard of. So the serenity prayer says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. That's powerful all in itself right there, right? That's saying acceptance. It's not saying resist. It's not saying, hold a grudge. It's not saying hold a judgment. It's accept. Acceptance is unconditional. It's not I'm going to accept it for a moment. It's I'm not going to hold a judgment to this. I'm going to accept it as it is. And the courage, the courage alone is a big word that calls upon us to sometimes connect with our inner power, right? So the courage to change the things I can. I've been asking you each week to do daily action steps to take you into a new area, new action steps that grow you. But they have to be in alignment with what your goals and your vision are. So this is that courage to change the things you can. This is that ability to tune into that inner guidance that's there for us, to anchor into spirit, to gain and muster up the courage to put forth the right action steps, to know the right ones, and to also step into them each and every day. Because as you do, one, you permeate your connection with spirit. You strengthen the relationship you're building with this inner power that lives and breathes and moves in you, that dwells within your sense of self. And as you do, it's building your confidence. It's changing the results in your life, and it's changing them really quickly. As you do new action steps every day, in the course of 1 week, you'll have had 5 new steps into areas you've never been before. And when you start measuring that over the course of a month, that's 20 in a month. You'll become unrecognizable to who you were the previous month. These action steps are literally the most powerful movements you can make. We're paying attention to what we're paying attention to so we can raise awareness to where we need to make the changes. So this serenity prayer is the courage to change the things I can. And that's powerful all in itself. But then it's the wisdom to know the difference. And you notice the word wisdom. To me, it's not book knowledge. It's not, I know this. It's tuning in for guidance. To me, wisdom comes from within. It comes from the inner power of anchoring into spirit. Wisdom isn't me saying, I know this shit. It's saying, I don't know what I don't know. Show me. So I'm going to link you to a gentleman who does the most amazing job of breaking down the serenity prayer into defining and unpacking every word in it into a deeper meaning, a deeper knowledge, a deeper understanding, so that maybe it sets deep within us into our subconscious for us to notice areas where we either need to accept what is or the courage to change what we can. and owning into that wisdom to know the difference. And I'll link that in the website for it's a YouTube video. So if you really like it, start a library of your own on YouTube and start putting these things in your own library so you can call back upon them later. But this particular, I think he calls it a meditation. It's not important that you close your eyes to hear it. It's just important that you tune into it, and become mindful to hear the words. The biggest powerful impact I want to share with you today is Ho'oponopono. And I'm not sure if you've ever heard the words before or what they mean. So, April, have you ever heard of Ho'oponopono?
No.
Monty?
Nope.
Okay. It is Hawaiian in its origin. And if you look in the Hawaiian dictionary, it means to put right, to put in order, to correct, revise, adjust, amend, to regulate, to rearrange, to tidy up. And this practice is literally a practice of simply 4 steps. It's repentance, forgiveness, gratitude, and love. I really believe that the problem with human beings is that we become, I'm going to use the word arrogant, but I don't mean that like to criticize. I mean it that we think we know, right? Our thinking alone, our ability to think, to process, to analyze, using skills and going to work and having relationships. I mean, everybody expects you to know what you think, what you feel, and why you're behaving the way you are. So we become arrogant, and that's what thinking really is, right? But thinking is in essence saying, I know, right? But wisdom really comes from being in the void. The void is that space and place you get to in meditation when you anchor in to all that you are, where there is no thought, right? It's that open vastness. It's just that void space to be thoughtless. And only by being in the void can the light come through. And the light meaning inspiration, inspired wisdom, inspired guidance. Inspiration breaks down to give meaning to being in spirit, right? So inspiration, when we feel inspiration, it comes from within. It's not us, realizing, oh, I know what to do next. It's like an inner knowing that's gifted to us, right? But you got to be in the void to get it. So as long as we have something going on in our mind, a thought, the light can't come in. Right? Spirit can't come in. That inspired action can't come in. And that's why meditation has been something I asked us to practice 3 times a day, to create that silence and that space and that place where we create that void, to allow in that inspiration to begin guiding us. The light can only come in when the mind is cleared and in a state of silence. So the Hawaiians really believe this, so much so that they take it so much further than this. They practice a process of clearing on a regular and often basis, okay? So Ho'oponopono is repentance, forgiveness, gratitude, and love, okay? It is actually us saying the words, I am sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And it's, I love you for presenting before me this pain or this suffering or this discomfort that I'm creating in my mind. And it's, I'm sorry for whatever is happening inside me, whatever thinking is going on inside me that is causing this discord. And it's please forgive me for I'm ready to release it now. And it's thank you for clearing and cleansing me of this issue. So while that seems like a lot, I can honestly say I partnered and joined with a community last year, the New Haven Native American Church. And in doing so, they shared with me some discord and discontent they had, that a lot of their following and their members are weak in their financial state, right? And I completely forgot this prayer, this passage, this Hawaiian forgiveness message at the time. And the funny thing is I started noticing as my year went by how my financial situation started dwindling. That I started owning their pain. And it wasn't until I stepped into some emotion code work with my son that he was removing emotions in my subconscious that I wasn't aware of. And some of them were these, that it brought to my awareness, oh my gosh, I've totally taken this on. It reminds me of a story that Dr. David Beckwith told. If you're not familiar with David Beckwith, he is the founder of Agape in Los Angeles. And it's an amazing congregation of just love and compassion. But early in his journey, he was heading to the Agape Center that he'd created one morning, and he saw this guy on the street that was homeless. And he started giving curiosity to, I used to see that guy in a business suit, and now all of a sudden I see him on the corner with a sign asking for help. I wonder what happened in his life to have created this. And Michael started getting really curious about this. And I remember him telling the story to myself and a girlfriend when we were in LA for some certification. And he said, I got so curious that within a week, my roof started leaking. And when I had a roofer come look at it, he told me I had $49,000 in repairs coming at me. And within the same week, I got a letter from the IRS saying I had made an error on my taxes last year and that I was going to be owing hundreds of thousands of dollars. I turned this over to my CPA. I started freaking out. I went into meditation. I started asking God, what have I done to create this? And what rises in him is his curiosity about the gentleman on the street, what could have happened in his life to have created this. And he started shifting things around, and he started giving love and compassion. He repented for the feelings, we all have them, whether they're shared, whether they're ours alone, whether they're shared, or whether they come from the collective. When we recognize something, just like last week's shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand, we have within us an emotion that rises. And it's up to us to clear it within us, right then and there. Clear it within us. We share the collective, and this is all part of this process. It's saying, when I asked Michael Beckwith, well, what exactly did you do? And he said, I healed the part of me which they had created, that this gentleman's homelessness had now created discord or a memory or an impression within him that he needed to release and heal. And then he started sending love and gratitude. And instead of getting curious about where this guy came from, he sent him love and gratitude, and he brought him lunch every day. Instead of packing one lunch, he packed two, and he dropped one off to this guy every single day, moving forward. The roof ended up just being a couple $1,000s patch, and his CPA took care of the issue with the IRS, and they apologized for all worries and discontent. Everything was in proper order, and there was no issues. So everything fell away once he began to get back into alignment. So that's sort of where this story goes. This was brought forth, and a book was written on it. It's called 0 Point, and the book is by Dr. Joe Vitale, who comes from the work of The Secret. He was in The Secret when it came out in 2007. And a Dr. Hu Len, a shamanic practitioner from the island of Hawaii. So he's deeply rooted in the shamanic values of the Hawaiians as a culture. But he says, this practice is in alignment with all other shamanic traditions. The Hawaiian tradition teaches that all life is connected, that we're connected to everyone else. When you think of a spider web or you think of sacred geometry, we're all interconnected. He says, Ho'oponopono is therefore not only a way of healing ourselves, but healing others and the world as well. And when I started putting in my own healing on this, in my own reality, I started getting messages from the church and other people in the church as to their own situations improving without them even doing work. So I know the power of this. I know the potential of this. And it works beautifully as long as you're not resisting. So look in your own life where you're resisting, because other people are healing you as well. Where are you resisting the offer? Where are you resisting the change? Because the only thing blocking you is our own resistance to it. And that starts in stories. It starts in our old memories. Some of them are unconscious to us. But each one of us is beautifully perfect. And I don't care if that's your fiance, if it's your child, if it's your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, we're all perfect. What's not perfect is our inner memories, our stories, and our programs. But what's important in this practice of Hawaiian forgiveness and the Ho'oponopono is that we take 100% responsibility for everything in our mind. Every thought, every feeling, every emotion in our mind, and therefore in our life. So there are 4 steps to this, and I want to take us through this, and I'm also going to give you a link to this as well, that it's probably an 8-minute little meditation that I want you to do with your eyes open, because as you go through it, there's reading that's going to begin to permeate and reiterate some of the words I speak and share here into a better understanding of this. So the nice thing about Ho'oponopono is that you don't need other people to be here. You don't need to go into the emotion. You just need to forgive it. You just need to recognize it and repent for it. So when we think about being responsible for everything in our mind, even if it seems to be out there, and I'm going to kind of go into what this means, being out there in here kind of thing, because the more you practice this, the greater understanding it will bring to you, okay? When we think of out there, we may think of it as lying. You may think of it in your kids and their behaviors, being out there, but you have a judgment in you of what you see. They're misbehaving, right? The correction happens in you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And as you start shifting it in you, you'll start seeing it shift in them. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I really invite you this week to try this on. It doesn't just work in our intimate personal relationships. It works in all aspects. I promise you. Apply it. It will not only free you from the emotion, it'll become a regular mantra in your mind. And it will begin realigning you back to that void space of your interconnection with spirit at all times. So when I asked you to anchor in every hour, reflect on how you mastered that, how well you were able to do that, right? This is just going to reinforce it and bring you closer into that mastery part of it. Another way, Lonnie, you can look at this is your judgment about your employer. They don't appreciate you. Every time you have that, that's out of alignment with your core values. right?
Mm-hmm.
Right then and there, when you have that feeling, when you have that thought, because it's an old program, it's a memory that now is reactivated all the time, okay? Right then and there, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, right? And repeat it as many times as you have to feel the softness of it moving out of you, okay? For you, April, you might use it with your clients. You know, you have a new client, and every time that client is sharing with you their woe, their problem, their anguish, their anxiety, they're giving you what they have. When you release it in you, when you release that judgment in you, you will begin to release it in them as well. Another place, April, you can use this is when you have judgment on your fiance. When you walk in, right? When you walk in the door and he's still in bed, or he didn't do what he committed to doing, or whatever, when that rises in you, I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And you don't have to say it out loud. You can say it softly and gently within you.
So am I saying this, I mean, am I directing it toward myself or directing it toward the person?
Towards you. It's all in you. It's all in you. And here's the beauty. So I invite you right now just to choose something that's in your awareness today that you've had a thought about that is out of accordance with pure love and compassion. And we all have them. I'm sorry. If we're breathing, we have them, right? As I prepared for this lesson, you know, it really brings my awareness to this in a big, bold way. Well, this is a practice I model and practice often. And I have literally been using it on both of you. As you share with me your stuff, I release what it brings up in me, which then, if you're open to the energy exchange, okay, April, you said yes to the energy working out. Lonnie, you weren't comfortable. You're resisting. And I'm only bringing this up because this is feedback. All it is feedback. It isn't right or wrong, but it's asking you, when will you be ready? Right? Because really it's spirit wanting to grow you and allow you to feel and express more of your authentic self. And this practice is going to do just that. It'll bring you back to that place and space within you where you are connected in that void without the thoughts and opinions and the judgments. And I can tell you, you're probably going to see shifts and changes before your eyes, which I tend to call miracles, right? When you see energy shift and change in front of you, when you see your kids misbehaving and instead of correcting them, you correct your thoughts about them and their behavior shifts, that's a miracle, right? When you walk in the door and you have an opinion of your spouse that's out of alignment, out of discord with your core values, and you correct you and your thoughts, and everything shifts and changes, to me, these are miracles. They're just beautiful representations of the power of this infinite intelligence that breathes us. So this whole step, I'm sorry, is saying that I'm responsible for my thoughts. I'm responsible for the things that I give time and attention to in my mind, right? And in my life. And I feel remorse that something in my consciousness could be causing this much discord, right? Because your true ultimate goal, you just said, your core values aren't in alignment with these feelings and these thoughts that are arising. So the asking for forgiveness, this isn't important who you think you're asking it of. If you're asking it of yourself or your higher self or God or spirit or the universe, it matters not. What matters is that you mean it. Is that you're truly sorry and that you want the forgiveness that it offers. You don't want to hold that thought. That thought's discomforting. It's causing an imbalance within you. It's causing you to wobble. And that you say it over and over and mean it. And that you remember the remorse from step one for what you are sorry for. So, a lot of times too, this is really big and bold. If you have an addiction, whether it's alcohol, whether it's procrastination, whether it's any addiction, it doesn't matter if it's food, if it's alcohol, if it's drugs, if it's TV, if it's exercise, anything can become an addiction. And an addiction is just avoiding what we need to deal with. But if we're overweight, if we have health issues, back pains, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I mean, Lonnie, use it on your back right now. April, use it on you eating right and putting your health back in your high priority, right? Mm-hmm. Every time the thought about your body or your back comes into your mindset, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Just keep repeating it. Release the thoughts. I've asked you to repattern them, but if they're still coming up today, you haven't done a very good job repatterning them, so you haven't mastered that. This process will take you to the next step. This process, when you apply it, will take you to the next step. I promise you. Okay, so step 2 was please forgive me. And again, forgiveness is freedom. When you're asking to be forgiven, it's bringing you into freedom. Freedom from holding on to a lower vibration energy. Freedom from keeping an old memory in place that's causing you suffering. Freedom from holding on to old programs that no longer serve you in your current level of consciousness. And the third step is gratitude. It's being thankful. And the thank you, again, it doesn't matter who you think you're talking to. It doesn't matter where the thank you comes from. You can thank your body for all it does for you. You can thank yourself for being the best version of you right now. You can thank God, Spirit. You can thank the universe. You can thank whatever it is that you just forgave. Just say thank you and mean it. You can thank whatever it is, this air that breathes life into you, right? And the fourth step is I love you. This can be your first step. It can be your last step, or it can be put in third place and use gratitude as fourth. The rhyme or reason, the correctness of order matters not. Each step is critical and important and valuable all in and of itself. But the I love you, which I'm calling the fourth step right now, is saying I love you to your whole body, right? It's as we say I love you to self, your true essence is not this body. It is spirit. You're loving your creator. You are loving the life you've been given. You are loving the essence of all life, of all humanity. So as you say, I love you, I don't care what you say it to or who you say it to or where you think you're saying it to. It doesn't matter. The act of I love you, the saying I love you is the vibrational energy along with the thank you and gratitude that take you to a higher level, that raise you out of that lower level vibration of the energy that was moving in you at the moment. So it's super powerful, it's simple, it's amazing, and it's highly, highly effective. I can't wait to hear how powerful this is starting to work for you. And I really want you to share it. And I really want you to start recognizing this is that powerful week where I want you to do a little reflection too and see your growth. And really be intentional. Share that powerful growth. Put it, in an email to me. Put it on a testimonial out on LinkedIn or on Facebook or somewhere. Validate it where you're really making a stance and showing the universe you are owning your new power. You're stepping into it with a beautiful ownership, a grace and an ease and a complete surrender. I mean, this surrender can't be made more powerful than what I just shared. This lesson alone will take you beyond where you've been. So the life work is to watch and listen to the 2 videos I share. the Ho'oponopono, Serenity Prayer, to print out and download the 16 ways to empower acceptance in your life, and to go to my blog and reread The Power of Surrender, and how surrender isn't giving up control. It's being in control to bring in more control. The control that's been at our access every day in every way, that walks with us on our journey, that we're just needing to ask for, and it's ours. So applying this acceptance in our life, practicing surrender, and using the Serenity Prayer or the Ho'oponopono in your life, you'll figure out what works best for you. I'm giving you tools to apply to take you to the next level. April, I know you probably have to go faster than Lonnie, so go first and share anything that, yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you saying? Yeah.
Just go ahead and share before you leave anything that's on your mind or anything that came forward for you in this last sharing.
No, I'm actually looking forward to this one. I've actually have said it a few times just during this video, maybe dealing with a little headache, kind of just letting it go, accept it, you know.
Yep.
I have a good feeling about this upcoming week. It's going to be a good one.
Yep. It already is. I already feel it. And that's spot on. That's exactly how you apply it. Every time you feel something in the body that doesn't resonate with you, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Mm-hmm. And you're actually loving the headache for coming and showing you you're out of alignment. Because, yeah, right? Because we are perfect. Our thinking is what's imperfect, and our thinking is creating our body to mishap for us. So the body's misfiring because we're out of alignment. It's just feedback. You're going to correct everything at a cellular level. Our cells are listening to every thought we think, every word we speak, and every feeling we embrace. So, beautiful example. Lonnie, what's coming up for you?
I think you just, April said it pretty well. You got the normal aches and pains you tend to focus on, and instead we need to go ahead. Is that me with that garble? Okay. I'm getting feedback. But anyway, just the regular parts of life we tend to focus on. So the retraining of forgiving ourselves, loving ourselves, and staying thankful for each and every experience really will go ahead and change things around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I promise you, results are going to start happening. Lonnie, you're in a real powerful week because you're going to turn up the volume to aligning vibrationally with this new position that you're seeking. Mm-hmm. And every time doubt enters, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And you're loving the doubt that came forward because it's keeping you in alignment. Right? And you're loving spirit for taking it away and freeing you and releasing you from the harness of doubt and keeping you stuck. This is powerful. This is super powerful. Use it. Use it always. Link in to these videos I'm sharing. They are super powerful. Use them every day. Tune into them at lunchtime if you can, whatever works for you to power you in your day, and really give me feedback as to, what you're seeing, what you're feeling, and how it's working. And Lonnie, if I can serve you in any alignment for this week, and just, I know last week was powerful, and I don't know if that was hard or if it was liberating, right?
It really was liberating.
Okay, good. Because it truly is. As one door closes, oh my gosh, the next opportunity is bigger, better, and bolder.
And the next opportunity, well, there's more opportunities this week, but on Sunday I have to drive to Arkansas because I have a Monday meeting, so I'm going to miss our call.
Okay.
But this is one of our Hail Marys to see if we can keep the account.
Got it. I would put this in Spirit's hand because your intention is to shine like a golden star to keep this account. And every time any thought or any feeling comes up that's out of alignment with that intention, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And as you continue to keep coming back to that void, you invite spirit in to shine through you to make that happen, right? What if after Monday's meeting, that
Mm-hmm.
client says, you know, it was Lonnie that made me sign the deal and stick with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be an eye-opener for your employer,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, we don't know what's possible, and I'm telling you, when you do this work, spirit will show up and shine for you in ways you've never imagined possible. You're fortunate you can use it on your kids.
Mm-hmm.
I would this week try my best not to discipline them once, not to let any words of discipline out of your mouth, no correction, and correct within you what's coming up inside you and see the ripple effect it has. Just show yourself the power of turning over to spirit, tuning into your inner power. That's what this is, surrendering into your inner power. As you begin to practice it and say these words over and over, you're going to see the shift. I promise you.
Mm-hmm. Have a good week.
This is amazing. Okay. Week 8, you got to turn up the volume here, and you're going to really see some shifts.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Have a wonderful week.
You too. Bye-bye.